You know by now that the key to a good life is not hedonism. It's not pleasure. It's not satisfying your ego or your lust. You know that by now. And if you've been on this self-improvement journey or like trying to figure out life, you know that humans need some sort of purpose, meaning. There's all these different terms that explain what could lead to a good life. And now there are so many differences between people and what is the ideal way of living per individual, but it's clear that we lack something in this modern world. Most people do not have the ingredients of a good life in their life, and so people resort to going out whenever they get the chance, drowning themselves in sad music, social media, Netflix, gaming, all kinds of addictions, all kinds of bad habits. And I want to explain something very briefly about what it takes to live a good life. Animals don't really have the concern of a good life, right? They just live and reproduce and raise their children. It depends on the type of animal, right? But they just live. Now, that is because every living thing and every animal has these mechanisms inside of their brain. So most animals have eyes, but all animals have some sort of sensory organs or mechanics, and they observe the world. That information gets processed and turns into their actions. And humans have the same. You notice a threat and your system processes that, and through your brain and the vagus nerve, your organs go into fight or flight mode and you respond, right? You see something on your phone, you see a notification, you pick up that information and you process it into an action of the body. So humans have a physical layer, and for most animals, that physical layer drives decision making. Now humans also have an emotional layer where we care about other people and sometimes about things, right? Or like concepts or theories or whatever. But that also serves the same purpose. Namely, we pick up things and turn them into bodily behavior on a physical level for the sake of life. There's this concept coined by Spinoza, who was a Dutch philosopher, and he said conatus is this force that is inside of every living thing, and it pushes people or animals or even trees to live, to keep living, and to preferably live as well as possible, right? And again, we are so complex that it's hard to just reduce things to that. Things are complex, but that's basically what's going on. You want to live, you want to keep living, and you preferably want to keep living or live as well as possible, right? Now, our emotional selves have an evolutionary advantage. That is, the type of people that are more emotionally connected to others are more likely to survive. The people that are emotionally connected to their children are more likely to keep reproducing and continue their DNA, basically. And so natural selection makes it that people that are more emotional to a certain degree live, keep living, and live as well as possible. Then we got all of these mental levels that are more like unique to humans, like our conscious, our rationality, our ability to observe, take facts, and turn them into projections for the future, right? So humans have a more advanced mind than most animals. Why? Again, it's that conatus. It's because we want to live, keep living and live as well as possible. And a mind like ours is an advantage in that, because you can simply do better than your fellow humans that don't have that developed. And so again, you get into the cycle of natural selection. But here's where things get interesting. Humans have that physical, emotional, and mental level, but then also a spiritual level. So humans have come up with the religions, with the paganism way of looking at gods, all kinds of different philosophies. People see the universe as their god, basically, like as the top ideal, you could say, the top virtue, the highest of the highest. And that also, as sort of disheartening as it might sound, all of that spirituality that humans have comes from the fact that the people that have that element to them have an advantage and will do better than others when it comes to living, continuing their life, and living life as well as possible. Because the type of people that are spiritual and, let's say, religious and believe in something bigger than themselves in the form of God, they are willing to make certain sacrifices for the benefit of their community that other communities do not experience, and so they do better. And so I've been reading a lot about like purpose, masculinity, duty, responsibilities, having reasons to do whatever you do. And recently I've been trying to stop some of my bad habits, and one of the most effective techniques that I'm using is simply writing down why I want to stop doing them every single day. So having a strong why is very important. And I'm also reading this book right now called Hero on a Mission by Donald Miller. A Path to a Meaningful Life. And I've been putting together some of the puzzle pieces, and I think it's quite simple, because people are arguing about morality, about what you should dedicate your life to, about meaning. People are discussing like existentialism. People can be very nihilistic, which is, some sort of symptom of being exposed to certain kind of information and not yet having seen other kind of information. But really, it's quite simple. As much as we are in some ways destroying our planet, as much as we are seeing people live lives without any virtue, anything profound in them, people can be very superficial, people can be very reductionistic, to the point that it hurts me, at least. But things are really quite simple. Every living thing makes its choices that it thinks will bring it the best life, will allow it to keep living, and will give it the best life they can live. Any human, any animal, any plant just makes its decisions like that. What will give me the best life? Because people are not the world is very complex and people don't understand everything about the world, and so what people get is that they make decisions that they really, really think will give them the best life, even though you and I might know that it won't. But people always make decisions based on what's going to give them a good life. Spiritual people, mental people, like people that are stuck at the mental level, people that are just an emotional level, people that are just being ruled by physical desires, all of these people have the same virtue, almost. The same top of the pyramid, the same pinnacle, the same ideal, which is just life, right? People ask themselves, why are we on this planet? Why do we even exist? And the reason people ask themselves that is because our brains have developed to I don't know, to process certain information, etc. But it's not it does not stem from like trying to make the happiest people. It stems from getting the people the best life by whatever measurements. And people ask themselves these existentialistic questions about what is the meaning of life. And they think the meaning of life is life. Life is the most important thing. Bees, tigers, trees, whatever. They all just make their decisions based on life. Nature is just a continuous flourishing of life. It involves death, but life is basically the very highest ideal. That is why, and we might not really consciously pick this up, but the thing that hurts us the most is the loss of life. The reason that people are not just sad when someone passes away because they care about them or because that person does something for them, but even when you don't know someone and don't have that emotional connection to someone, you are sad at the loss of life. Life is the highest ideal, the highest virtue, right? The reason that people like environmental activists can get very emotional or like involved and engaged with the issue is that when you watch certain documentaries and you see the things that are happening in the world as a result of certain changes is causing a loss of life. And that would be okay if it was just the natural cycle of life and death, or if humans were gaining something from taking away lives elsewhere. But that's not the case, and we know it. Especially in this Western world, but also in countries like China and India and whatever. We have become such consumers. We consume without any consciousness. We consume bullshit, and we don't care if in order to make the products that we don't need but still buy, hundreds or thousands of different resources have to get shipped all over the world to make that happen. And those people make decisions. They buy stuff because they think they need stuff. They don't. They know it. But we're stuck in this consumeristic way of living. People make their decisions based on fear, etc. At the expense of life elsewhere. But they don't know it. What I'm trying to get at here is that people don't know what type of work to get into, how to make their money, how to live their lives, how to make their decisions, what to see as their God, basically, right? God is whatever you have on the top of your food chain, whatever you have as the highest virtue, as the thing you should make your decisions on. You know you can make all of your decisions based on physical pleasure or emotional sentiment. Sometimes you have to be rational. Emotions are potentially an honorable part of being a human being, but emotions are also related to your ego, etc. So if you want to not make your decisions based on pleasure or on ego, you have to sort of use your mind to figure out what your spiritual choices, I guess. right? You have purpose, meaning, missions, careers, causes that you can dedicate yourself to. And some people think their purpose is mixed martial arts or something about themselves. And some people say, no, your meaning should always be about other people, right? It's about community. It's about doing something for the sake of others. And other people make it a bit more individualistic and talk about self-actualization and whatever. And I think all of these things can be fine as long as they honor life. And this can sound kind of vague, and I wish I had found the words already to properly express myself. But everything is just about life. And whatever choices you make sure that life is the highest ideal. For me, that means, for example, eating organic as most as I can, not buying products I don't need, and becoming who I can be, unlocking my full potential, as well as educating other people on this thing called life. I'm not sure if I'm making sense at all. I don't think so. That's okay. I think I'll just leave it at that for now. And I'll come back on this for sure. Because no matter what career you choose, or business you choose, or escaping into the woods kind of life you choose, whatever it is, you need to honor life. And bees have their purpose in that, their role to play in that, as do tigers and as do trees, right? The ecosystem is all connected to each other. And humans have sort of separated themselves from that. And that's okay. But it comes with some disadvantages. And people live unnatural lives. People live disconnected from reality. And they lose the appreciation for this incredibly unique and special thing that is life. And people waste it. People take it from others. And people are certainly not making the most out of what life could be. But humans have their own unique ways of contributing to, perhaps not the ecosystem, but of contributing to life. Right? The shepherd role of guiding others and helping others, making it so that other peoples can live lives the best they can. That is, I guess, one of the elements. So to sum it up, do right by nature, meaning you do things and make decisions that actually are good for plants and animals, but also that you make your choices based on natural laws and reality, and you just educate yourself on that. Then I just mentioned the guiding role as well, like helping others. And I think I've been pissing on consuming for the past 20 minutes. And there it lies another very important element of this secret or whatever. That is creation. There's this quote that I love and that I want to live by. Or it's not a quote, it's just a phrase. Create the things you wish existed. I'm creating this video because I wish for more people to think like this. People create art because they believe it should exist. People have ideas and visions, and some people are scared to bring it into reality. But if you make your decisions based on the highest ideal being life, then please follow your ideas and honor life. Bring your ideas to life. Creation, mentoring, education, shepherding, and being nice to living things. That is what I want you to take away from this video. I hope you have a good night.